everyone, and welcome back to DaVinci Guitar. Today, it's Testimonial Tuesday, episode 2, which means that instead of Jim beside me, I have a special guest. Today, I have Liz Mandell, who is a professional guitar player. And Liz, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. This is great.
We're excited to have you on. So I'd love to ask you a little bit about your background in music. So when did you get started in music, and how did you get started in music?
I grew up watching my mom play the piano at our house and started on piano because of watching her, and I don't even remember how long I took for. Maybe I started when I was 6 or 7, and until I was 12. And then when I was 12, I was watching all the people in my church play guitar and wanted to do that then. And so then my mom actually had taken guitar from Jim and a couple of my other family members, and the kids in church did. And so that got me in there. And so I started with Jim when I was 12, and then took lessons from him until I was 18 and went to college, and then actually played in a band with Jim. So I was the rhythm guitar player for Jim's smooth jazz band, Horizon.
That's so cool. What a fascinating story. So you started with him when you were 11, you said?
12.
12. Okay, so 12 and then all the way up to now, which is super cool.
Yeah, there's always more to learn. Jim
That's right.
Has a wealth of knowledge, so.
He surely does. He surely does. That's part of why we're here on DaVinci Guitar, is sharing that. So we're excited to have all of you along for the journey to learn from Jim and everyone else that's coming on the show. So Liz, the next question I have for you is, you were obviously heavily involved in the band's arranging of the music as the rhythm guitar player. So could you kind of explain how you would arrange the music from a theory standpoint, because that's something that we're all interested here as we talk a little bit about theory on DaVinci Guitar.
Yeah, this was actually something that I learned how to do when I joined the band. Jim taught us all how he likes to play this style of music. And instead of one of us actually playing the chord, we would each have a piece of the chord. So for example, take a C chord, which is C, E, and G. Kyle, the bass player, would play the root, the C, and the bass. I would actually play an E triad somewhere on the board, some form of it, and then Jim would play the G, some form of the G, to produce the chord. So we all had to know our substitutions and our inversions, and I would generally play that middle substitution chord in the group.
Well, that's super cool, Liz, and that's something that we've actually talked about here on DaVinci Guitar is inversions, and Jim and I have in the works up next, which is triads, and we know that Liz here was just talking about triads, so we're super excited for you all to get an inside look at music in that regard. So Liz, thank you so much for those responses to those questions. That was just fascinating to learn about your background in music and also to hear about how you arrange music. But I think now we need to get to the part that everyone's waiting for, and that is you playing some guitar. So do you have a song that you'd maybe be willing to share with us a little bit of?
Yeah, I do have a song. This one I'm going to play is off of one of the albums we did as the smooth jazz band Horizon, and it's just a prelude. So I think that's what I'm going to do.
Well, Liz, that was beautiful. And one of the things that I find fascinating about your playing, and I've been to some of Horizon's live concerts and seen this too, is that you make it look so simple, but what you're really doing is not at all simple, because it takes so much of that theory that you discussed earlier in your head to arrange that.
Yeah. And Jim was just a great teacher. I learned so much from him, and I wouldn't have been able to do anything that I did or I still do. So without him.
Definitely. He is certainly one of a kind. Well, Liz, thank you so much for coming on the program today for Testimonial Tuesday. Everyone else, thank you for watching. We hope that you enjoyed this episode of Testimonial Tuesday. Make sure to come back on Thursday when we continue to discuss the inversions. Thank you so much for watching DaVinci Guitar.